Hello everyone, welcome back to another video from Shomu's Biology. And this series of lectures we are talking about the cells of the immune system, different cells of the immune system, their roles, what they do in details. So today we are going to talk about the neutrophils of the immune system. Neutrophils origin, neutrophil structure, the location of action of neutrophil in our immune system, the function of neutrophil, and also the mechanism of action of neutrophil in the immune system. So let's start with the origin. The neutrophil is originated in the bone marrow. From the hematopoietic stem cells in the bone marrow, they are originated. Next is the progress through the myeloid progenitor cells. So there are two progenitor cells. There is lymphoid progenitor cells and there is myeloid progenitor, and the neutrophils are produced from the myeloid progenitor cells, not the lymphoid progenitor cells. Next one is the influenced by GCSF, okay, colony stimulating factor. Granulocyte colony stimulating factor is the growth factor released by the body which influence the production of neutrophils, and GCSF also cause differentiation of the neutrophils. The rapid production, they can be produced billions daily with a short lifespan of 6 to 10 hours in our blood circulation. That is uniqueness of neutrophils compared to the macrophage or dendritic cells, because neutrophils can be produced very rapidly but the lifespan is very short. So they are produced billions per day but their lifespan is 6 to 8 hours in the blood circulation. Let's start talking about their structure. The structure, if you want to talk about, they are having multi-lobed nucleus. This is the very first thing you can see. This is nucleus in the pink color, but this is multi-lobed. It's not a single nucleus like that. It is lobed or fragmented like this. Okay, generally more than 2-3 fragments are seen in there. Okay. Next is the granules. They are filled with granules. The granules, they are primary granules, okay, known as azurophilic granules, which under the azurophilic granules or primary granules, you can see that here they have primary granules. This is primary granules in blue, secondary granules are shown in the gray. Okay, the primary granules have defensins inside of it. Okay, myeloperoxidase inside of it. Secondary granules have lactoferrin, NADPH oxidase enzymes inside of it. So they have two categories of granules inside of them. Then there are also tertiary granules. Okay, gelatinase is there for the tissue remodeling purpose, which they can also do. Next is the location of action. Where are they located and what are their function? So they circulate in the bloodstream as a first responders. So as they are produced in billions of numbers daily in the body, so they are always moving through our bloodstream. Always, anytime you can see under the microscope, if you are going to observe the white blood cells, you are going to see primarily a huge number of neutrophils out there. Okay, multi-lobed nucleus, the neutrophils are clearly visible. So they migrate to tissue via chemotaxis, and the chemotaxis is driven by interleukin 8 mediated chemotaxis. They accumulate at sites of acute inflammation and infection. If there is any acute inflammation is going on due to infection or any kind of infection is going on, there the neutrophils will be very much active. What are their functions? If you see that neutrophil have function of engulfing a bacteria and also release certain chemical factors to degrade and kill the bacteria, and there is a mechanism of net mediated killing. They create a net through which they can kill the target bacteria. So the function says that they have phagocytosis role. They engulf and digest pathogens. Second one is the degranulation role. They release toxic enzymes, and those toxic enzymes are going to further cause degradation of the target bacteria. ROS production. They generate a reactive oxygen species to destroy pathogens. And net formation. They release chromatin structures. So these chromatin structures are known as net, which is basically forming a trap for microorganisms. So as they form this net where they can trap the microorganisms and kill them at the end. Okay, and cytokine production. They can produce interleukin 1 beta, TNF alpha, interleukin 6, and they also recruit immune cells, and this basically interleukin 1 beta, TNF alpha and interleukin 6 are going to further crosstalk with the other immune cells of our immune system. So first is the mechanism of action, that is recruitment and activation of the process of neutrophil. How it is done? You know, they use interleukin 8. Basically interleukin 8, whenever is released from any tissue, from any tissue which is injured or being infected or under the inflammatory response, they release interleukin 8, and that is a signal. So whenever the interleukin 8 is coming in, you can see the interleukin 8, for example, IL-8 is being released by this tissue because there is a damage, there is an infection, active infection. So these neutrophils they get attracted to interleukin 8. Okay, the interleukin 8 mediated chemotaxis mechanism works, and neutrophils start to adhere to the endothelial cells. You can see this is the endothelial cells. Neutrophils adhere there, rolling and then slowing with the help of adhesion molecules like ICAM1 and VCAM1, and then the adhesion is completed. After the adhesion is completed, then there is the neutrophil squeeze through these endothelial cells into the infected tissue out there. Okay, so this whole process is being done with the help of the adhesion molecules like ICAM1. They are activated by the PRR, pattern recognition receptors, like toll-like receptors, or any category of pathogen associated molecular patterns which are fragments of the pathogen body which is only foreign. Okay, because our immune system, like this neutrophil, can distinguish between the pathogen related patterns and non-pathogen related patterns. So it can only act against the pathogen related molecular patterns or PAMs. Okay, so that process is done. Next one is the phagocytosis. How exactly they do the phagocytosis? With or without opsonin. Okay, basically without opsonin it takes a long time for the phagocytosis process to be done, but with the help of opsonin and opsonization process, the time taken for phagocytosis is very less. Why? Because the opsonization is basically attachment of antibody coating to the surface of the pathogen. This is pathogen, this is the pathogen. The surface of the pathogen is coated with the antibody, and whenever the surface of the pathogen is coated with antibody, then the opsonins are going to form, opsonins are going to bind, and so opsonins are nothing but complement proteins, that is C3b acts as an opsonin, antibodies acts as opsonin. So if antibody coats a target pathogen, then it becomes easy to engulf them and degrade them, not only by neutrophils but also by macrophages and other phagocytic cells. They can engulf bacteria quite easily with opsonization. Okay, then formation of phagosome. So this is a bacterium engulfed. After engulfing, we call it phagosome. The vesicle inside of which the pathogen is present, that is known as phagosome, a vesicle which is originated after phagocytosis. Then lysosome empty its enzymes by fusing with the phagosome, and the lysosomal enzymes are going to destroy the bacterial components and the debris are released out. Okay, that is the job of neutrophils. Pathogen degradation in the phagolysosome is something that should do. Next is the granulation and a reactive oxygen species mediated killing. Remember, reactive oxygen species mediated killing is a unique feature of neutrophil. Exclusive, not totally exclusive, because the reactive oxygen mediated killing and reactive nitrogen species mediated killing is also found and seen in macrophage, but primarily it is provided by the neutrophils. Degranulation, release of granules and release of certain components, certain chemicals that has antimicrobial activity. Okay, and there is this ROS, reactive oxygen respiratory burst, generates reactive oxygen species to kill the pathogen. So this is neutrophil. Either they release cytokines and proteases that can directly target a cell, causes apoptosis, matrix degradation, and after the tissue damage is done, the debris clearance is also being done, and then only the process should continue. If it's going on in your cardiac muscle, then cardiac recovery is very important. Until and unless the debris are cleared, the cardiac recovery is not done. Next is the activation of nitrogen NOx, MPO or NOx2. These are all via this NOx2 and MPO. The reactive oxygen species pathway is triggered. Okay, that cause neuronal apoptosis, and also brain recovery will be mediated after the neuronal apoptosis, and also causing the clearance of the debris. Okay, so that is this is a mechanism that is in terms of our own body activity, how it is doing the activity in our own body, maintaining our neural tissue as well as in the cardiac tissue. But this reactive oxygen species can directly kill bacteria, kill pathogen. Okay, that is something in very simple terms. But in eukaryotic cells in our body, the neutrophils also have this role for debris clearance in the cardiac tissue damage and neural tissue damage. Remember that. Next is netosis. Now what is netosis? I told you that this neutrophils have remarkable capability of forming net, okay, specialized cell death releasing chromatin and granule proteins. Okay, cell death which is releasing chromatin and granule protein, and you can see the net full form is the neutrophil extracellular traps. Neutrophil extracellular traps. Okay, they trap and kill microbes. You can see that this is a neutrophil. Okay, and there are two processes, non-lytic netosis and netosis, which is netosis is a slow cell death process, non-lytic netosis is a rapid release and rapid killing process. Slow death, what happens is that this is the neutrophil, there are granules inside, and what they do is basically the nuclear delobulization is done. So the lobes of the nucleus are separated, cellular depolarization is done, the chromatin decondensation is also done. So all the chromatin content of the these neutrophils are released in the cell. There is no covering, nothing else, and this chromatin is plasma membrane rupture is done, and the chromatins of the neutrophil are going to go outside of the cell as well, right? And this structure where we have a cell, okay, and we have granules and chromatin or DNA structures are popping out, this particular structure is only marking this net, neutrophil extracellular traps or net. Once the net is formed, it's going to trap and kill the microorganism. Okay, and on the other hand, non-lytic netosis is there where they don't take that much of time, where they directly delobulize and degranulation is there. Granulation. So once the degranulation is done, basically what happens, the granules start to be released and causing pore. Through the pore, all the chromatin components will come out and chromatin components are released. After the chromatin components are released, there are extracellular assembly of net is formed, and again they will trap the microorganism and kill them. While the rest of the cells without the nucleus or nuclear component are known as phagocytic cytoplast. So the phagocytic cytoplast is the remnant of neutrophils without any of their chromatins, because the chromatin is already forming the net, neutrophil extracellular traps. Okay, that is how the netosis is done. So what is the summary of neutrophils? Neutrophils are the most abundant leukocytes. Leukocyte means white blood cells, most abundant white blood cells, and they are known as the first responders in our immune system because they respond in your immune system for the first time whenever there is any kind of infection, any kind of defects, any kind of trauma in the tissue and injury. They are going to interact first. Next, they perform phagocytosis, degranulation, reactive oxygen species mediated damage to the microorganism, and also net formation, trapping and killing the microbes. Key players in combating infections and initiating inflammations, and excessive activation can lead to tissue damage and also can cause inflammatory diseases in our body. So that's the summary of neutrophils. I believe you have a clear idea on this topic. If you like this video, please hit the like button, share this video with your friends and colleagues, subscribe to this channel, and also watch every single video of this playlist because it is going to help you understand the cells of immune system. Thank you. Bye.